Welcome to Between the Sheets podcast with Dr. Samantha Worthington and Brendan Neal, that's me, where we discuss everything midlife and everything in between. When Dr. Sam and I first met, we found it really easy to talk to each other. And although we have lived on opposite sides of the world and have very different experiences, we found a friendship that was pretty interesting and fun. And as we sort of began to share our life stories, we realized that although we had had very different experiences, very different cultural backgrounds, a lot of what we had experienced was very similar. And I guess as even though our lives were vastly different, what that led us to believe or discover was that none of us are really alone in our journeys through life. And that's really why we started this podcast. So together we're going to bring you a whole bunch of lived experiences, raw emotions and stuff that's happened, and combine that with research and insights of actually what happens right across the whole spectrum of humanity. And we want to do this so that we can celebrate this adventure of life and celebrate all the triumphs and tragedies that go with it, and just let you know that you're not crazy either. We're all in this together, and we don't want you to do this alone. This is pretty much unscripted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Off the wall. It could go anywhere.
We're not going to give you any advice. We're just here to keep you entertained.
Absolutely. We're going to share experiences, give you a little bit of insight, looking at behaviors and what sort of motivates us and people to do things or to not do things.
Yeah.
And we're going to look at a bit of research behind that so that we can scratch the top off what actually drives us in life.
That's right.
Yeah.
So in today's episode, we are looking at something that everyone's been through, regardless of how long they've been with someone or what their gender is. And we're looking at why people stay in relationships and why they leave.
That reminds me of the Clash song. Should I stay or should I go now? Da-na-na-na-na.
Yeah. And yet it takes a long time sometimes, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you were having a look at some research that was done by Dr. Jeffrey Bernstein.
Yes.
And we've had this debate now for a few days where he came up with 4 reasons that people leave relationships. And I kept saying to you, hey, Brendan, did you leave one out? Like, was there 5?
I think something got struck off his research.
Yeah.
Or I'm not certain exactly why. However, you're right. I was reading Psychology Today. I think that's what it's called, that journal. It was an article in there that he's done research on relationships, and it was really interesting. He narrowed it down to 4 reasons why people leave relationships. And for me, this struck me as really interesting because if you jump into Google, which is a font of knowledge, God knows what you'll find there.
You might find some of my articles on there.
I found like lists of 28 reasons why you'd break up, right?
Do you remember what number 28 was?
Snoring. And BO was 26, I think. Yeah. Something like that.
That would be a problem for me because I have a sleep problem, right? So snoring would be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be number 1.
Yeah.
For me.
So I was really surprised. However, I sort of sat back and thought, okay, look, these 4 reasons, that's like typically we would think like, you know, when people gossip or they talk about other people's relationships or something, they'd say, what? No.
When other people gossip, do they?
When other people do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Typically you will hear stories and I'm in the same boat. I don't like participating in conversations when people aren't there and everything. However, you know, that's rumors fly around and everything. It'd be like, hey, what happened? And it's always like you hear the same things. Oh, they cheated, you know, they got with someone else and everything. So I think this article outlined 4 general reasons, or not general, 4 very specific reasons of why people break up. And it wasn't so much the catalyst or the incident that caused the breakup. These are the underlying reasons or the real core reasons of why they occurred.
Because, you know, by the time someone does cheat or leave, right, these things have been festering underneath for a while,
Yeah.
sometimes years.
The first thing that Dr. Jeffrey Bernstein highlighted was toxic thoughts and communication breakdown.
Okay. Because they can't communicate properly?
That may be.
Yeah. So number 2 is unresolved conflict and lingering resentment. Have you experienced that before?
Oh.
Yeah.
I think every couple that have been together for some time, unless they have some sort of amazing Jedi ability to communicate at the exact moment where things occur, it's very easy for that to occur where you have lingering not lingering resentment. However, say for example, something you're with the person you love and you're going to do something and you may be
is this something fun? Are we doing something fun?
Yeah, something fun.
Okay.
Something fun.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you may be going out for dinner or something, for example. Yeah. And it may be to celebrate the other person's birthday, let's say.
Okay.
And
it's getting specific.
It is getting specific, isn't it? So you may take them to their favorite restaurant, the place that they really love going, because you know that they love certain things on that menu and they love the outlook across the water or whatever. And so you go there and you have a fantastic time. And then, things might just drop a little, the energy.
Is this at the end of the night?
Yeah.
So the end of the dinner, like when dessert is coming?
Yes.
Okay.
And you may be thinking a few steps ahead of like, oh, this is going great. The Barry White music's going on when you walk in the door and you go, hey, Google, play this for me. Yeah. And let's say by the time you get home, for some reason, the energy's changed a bit and there's been a bit of a shift in something and things fizzle off. Now, you can just brush that off and just sort of go, oh, okay, damn it, what did I do wrong? Or just go, okay, it was a bit too much or it's been tired, it's the end of the week, whatever.
It's been tired?
Everyone's tired. I don't know. Not me. I was looking forward to it, getting home. And yeah, so you
think this is a common male problem? Do you think that men listening to this are going, yep, I know what that feels like?
I suspect that a lot of men would have tried to do something similar. Put on a good night or put on a good day, go to some effort, not as a strictly transactional thing of like, hey, look, if
I did this, I want that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not necessarily that.
So more like a I'm going to spoil you. Yeah. However, okay.
Wouldn't it be great?
Yeah.
If we could party like it's 1999 when we get home.
Okay.
Yeah. And have that beautiful, happy moment together.
Okay.
Or moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So you would say that is that this unresolved or this lingering resentment?
Well,
where do you think
I think what occurs is that if you bury that, and you don't address it, and that happens, and then in your mind, something similar happens again, and it may not even be the same, and you may not even be taking into account all the other things that are going on. However, from your own experience, if that's happened once before and then it sort of happens again, and when I say it happens again, it's not leading to a great time when you get home. However, it may be a case of like whatever your expectations weren't met. And if that's happened again and again, then if you don't speak about that or find some way to open up that communication line and sort of raise that, then yeah, it does often for men, friends that I know and people that I know that have gone through an experience such as that, it does get a little bit of resentment there because it's sort of like, well, hang on a moment, like this feels like a bit of a one-way street here. I'm attempting, I'm really making an effort for us to have a good time or to give us the environment and the experience of like having a special time and anchor that in with everything that goes with it. and doing that very strong emotional connection as well. And if that doesn't occur, and you don't bring it up, then perhaps I look at it as well, is that, hey, what am I missing here? Like,
So that actually ties in with number 1, which is that breakdown in communication.
completely.
Yeah. So maybe she has resentment. There's a disconnect in intimacy, and that starts way ahead of the environment or that you've created, right? So that could be something.
Hey, you know what? That brings us on to the third point, which is a breakdown in emotional connection and intimacy.
Yeah. So I reckon that it's this breakdown in communication, the lingering resentment, the toxic thoughts about your partner. It's amazing, right? Because when you meet them, you think they're incredible. And you love how you feel when you're with them and all the things about your partner you enjoy. And then as time goes on, you start thinking, oh, why did they do that? Or why did they behave that way? That's not the type of person I like, or I didn't fall in love with that person. And instead of confronting that and having that communication with your partner, people don't talk because they don't want to create any conflict. They don't want to ruin their weekend. They don't want to have the discussion because the person listening to that becomes defensive, right? It's like, well, this is just who I am, or why are you picking on me, or whatever the case is. So that breakdown in communication is usually due to the maturity of both individual people. And I don't know if you can coach people through that as much as therapists do, because at the end of the day, they're still in their mind, they still might have those lingering resentments and toxic thoughts about their partner. However, a lot of people put that under the carpet, don't they?
That's exactly the term he used, I think. Sweep it under the carpet.
Yeah.
And it will come back and very much haunt you. The fourth one was a misalignment of goals and values.
That's a big one.
Cool.
Because people change, right?
Yeah. And I think another thing as well is that it takes a while to find the real person when you meet a stranger. Yeah. What's the usual life cycle of how you meet someone?
And especially now, today.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So what they're these apps and stuff, people are dating each other. They're literally going on a dating farm, right? They're saying, no. Yeah, that one I want to date. They look good, right? It's all based on image. And what image they're portraying is the absolute best. You don't put a photo of yourself on a dating app in your nightgown, right, with no makeup on. Absolutely not. And I've heard people telling me that they're going on dating apps and the women that are on there are 10 years older when they meet them and 10 kgs heavier, right?
Oh.
So not and men too, right? We're not putting our real selves forward nowadays, are we? We're putting our best version, whatever filters are on those apps, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what we're putting forward. Now, how can you match life values and life goals when you're looking at something so superficial?
It's, you can ignore it for as long as you want. And eventually that stuff's going to bubble to the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After the initial excitement.
Yes.
Yeah.
However long that may be.
Yeah.
A year, 2 years, throw in a marriage, that's exciting. Throw in kids, that's exciting. Eventually, at some stage, you're going to be sitting there across from each other.
Yeah.
Or lying in the bed at night.
Disconnection.
Well, at some stage, like you know yourself or you can't dodge yourself. Now, I heard, I don't know who it was, however, it's not me, values, vision, and lifestyle. And that really rung true to me in a relationship.
I don't know who that was.
I know that you referred it to me. I can't remember who it was.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's really at the core of a really successful relationship. If those three things are not aligned, so it's values, vision, and lifestyle. And it's probably something I've only realized in recent years, how important those three things are, and you can ignore them or be the nice guy or do anything you want. However, eventually that's going to start bubbling up, whether in your subconscious or your conscious, and you're just going to, maybe if you're a bit out of tune with yourself and some bloke just bumbling through life.
Yeah.
And I'm not referring to myself.
No, I think I think everyone experiences that. And that's something that we really need to look at, because I have countless people that have spoken to me about the lifestyle piece, where they're living different lifestyles. One person in the relationship is very active and wants to be involved in, sports or swimming or whatever the case is, trail running, whatever you want. And the other person is a homebody. And initially that might be quite endearing, right? Oh, I love the fact that my partner loves to surf around the world, except I'm not a surfer and I don't surf around the world. So I think that in terms of lifestyle, as life goes on, as children grow up as well, when you hit that midlife and your kids are older and they don't need all your attention, because you said earlier, marriage and children, really exciting. Yeah, also great distractions, right?
Absolutely.
Great distractions. Once the children are old enough to look after themselves, and I mean, you're not changing nappies, feeding them, bathing them, whatever, all of a sudden they focus not on you all the time, and you both look at each other after, 2, 3, 4 children, and you think, hey, what are we going to do today? Well, I'm going to do what I always do, which is X, Y, and Z. And you're going to do what you always do, which is, and then it becomes lonely because there aren't children to fill the hole. So that's where lifestyle starts coming in. Often people get married and they have similar values. We want children. We want a family. We want to be great parents, right? We want to work on our careers, all of these things. We want the house. We want the Christmas dinners with our families, etc. And everyone wants that. So you've got these, a lot of people want that. I don't want to speak for everyone. And you've got this, our values are aligned. We want family, we want children, etc. What about your interests? Outside of that, what are your interests? And that's where the lifestyle piece absolutely fills in.
Here's something for you.
Okay.
When it does come to lifestyle, do you have to have the same interests?
Oh, you definitely have to share one. And it can't be kids.
Yeah.
It can't be kids. So
you see married people go out on like date night or something?
I went for dinner.
Restaurant?
I went for dinner a few weeks ago, and I remember sitting at a table where the couple next to us didn't speak to each other once. And they were in their late 50s, maybe early 60s.
Yeah.
They definitely weren't on a date, right? They were married, and they've been married for a while. And they ate their food and they had their drinks, and then they got up and they left. And they weren't angry with each other. They just weren't interested in each other.
They have their phones out or anything?
The one did have her phone out. Yeah.
Did have her phone out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, she was probably chatting to her kids, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Dad's taking me to this lovely restaurant. Blah, blah,
Did
blah.
you take photos of the food?
No.
And say,
However,
I love those ones where it's like, we're having a wonderful time.
Yeah.
We're not even talking.
We're not speaking.
I saw that
Yeah.
when my boys were young, and we were down at we weren't staying there. We crashed there. What's the Versace one down the Gold Coast?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, that's too posh for me. I
don't know how me with 2 long-haired blonde boys, and getting away with swimming there and having breakfast. So we did exactly that. We saw a couple there, and I was thinking, they were taking photos, or one of them was taking photos of the beautiful surroundings and everything, and the other one was reading in a newspaper, and they weren't really old, like they're like mid-40s maybe.
Right.
So we're not talking like
no, that's not old.
Really, really old.
No.
Yeah.
Mid-40s is young. It's the new 30.
Absolutely.
So
you get a while to get there.
Yeah. Thank you. I saw exactly that. So early on in my marriage, I saw that, and I remember saying to my husband, "Don't you think that's strange that he's reading the newspaper and she's sitting there eating her food?" And I remember he said, "No, I don't think that's strange." And I remember thinking to myself, that's a red flag. That's a problem, because I would hate to have that. I don't want that. Do you want that? Do you want to go anywhere with your wife of however many years and you're so used to each other, you're taking each other for granted to such a point that you're out, right? And you're not even looking at each other. How many people do you think do that?
Yeah, that'd be a long life. That'd be a long holiday. All I can picture is stuck on a cruise boat or something where you can't escape anywhere. It's a nightmare.
How could you
I
do
can't
that?
believe it.
Yeah. So I think, and you know what? I think we have these thoughts, and that's actually something that this toxic thought, right? We have these thoughts and we also quieten them. And I heard something the other day about gut feelings.
Yes.
And the question was, how correct are gut feelings? And the answer was, they're right, they're just quiet. So we don't listen to them. They're not loud, right? And we often don't trust them. I can tell you so many gut feelings that I've had in relationships where right at the beginning, I knew, hey, this isn't what I want. And I was like, keep going. It will get better. It's fine. Now, why do you think people stay? Those are the reasons why people leave, right? Well, according to Jeffrey Bernstein, PhD.
Yes.
So he's done a lot of research on it.
He has.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Only 4. Why do you think people stay?
Stay together.
Yeah.
I'm haunted by this phrase. It's cheaper to keep her. There's financial incentive.
For her as well, or not?
Potentially.
There's also people that they break up or they get divorced and they stay together because financially, as in they stay together, they live together, right? Because financially they don't have a choice.
Now, you have mentioned this.
Yes.
And to me, this is really unique.
Okay.
Yeah. People stay together when they may not be in love or, things have fizzled out a little and they don't really want to be there. And I've seen many people where they've just gone, okay, I'll just keep kicking along and you know what? It sort of isn't too bad looking around here, got the house and kids or whatever. We've got everything here together. For me to jump out and this is both women and men, it can be like quite daunting and scary. So this is interesting. You've mentioned, a couple of people or some couples that are divorced and they end up sharing the house together.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does it actually work?
Well, someone will live in the granny flat or someone will be on one floor and the other person on the other, right? And then they just don't deal with each other. And then there's couples that I know that have separated or they've gotten divorced, right? They've gone through the whole thing. And then they still live together and watch the news together and have dinner together, except they're divorced. And then they go to their separate rooms and they're really happy. That's what they want, right?
Do you reckon those people are avoiding bits of life as well?
I reckon those people have given up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I think. However, I'm not in that position. So I wouldn't know. I can't judge.
Yeah.
However, I don't know. There's got to be more to life than that. Don't you think?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So staying together, a lot of people talk about kids. And I think that's why a lot of couples, after they get divorced, they stay together as well, because of the children in the house. There's this concept of nesting, right? Where you stay together, you're divorced, however, you still share the marital home on the days that you have the kids. So that's very different from how it used to be, where one would move out and the kids would go to the other parent, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So now it's like the kids stay in the house and then the parents come to that house when it's their turn to have the children.
Where's the other parent go?
I don't know. So maybe to the boyfriend or the girlfriend or I don't know, somewhere else. Just not in the house.
Do they go back to the same bedroom?
I don't know.
Can they bring friends around? How does that all work? I've got so many questions.
I don't know. So there's this idea, right? This nesting concept. However, and a lot of people say that. They say
I've just realized I do know someone
here we go.
who is
nesting
in that position.
Okay.
They have, I don't want to spell it out too much. However, they have very unique needs around the child.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not easy for that, to just transplant the kid into another home.
That's
I
right.
have two homes, a mum
Yeah.
home and a dad home.
Yeah, exactly.
So mum and dad share that home from what I understand. And, there's quite a bit of crossover and understanding that goes along with
That's
that.
very mature.
I thought that's really interesting, and I can understand how and why. Yeah, I just don't know the details. However, it just sprung to mind then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in some instances,
It was a necessity
yes,
for them.
yes.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And then you get people that just stay together for the kids, right?
Some of the saddest stories you see.
However, that was never my case. So my first marriage, I left because of my daughter. I remember the marriage and the pregnancy were just, not ideal. And when I gave birth to, and I knew I was pregnant with a girl, right? I was like, you're not going to think this is normal. And I left because of my child. That gave me the power, the confidence, and the strength to leave rather than staying because I had a child against everyone's advice. My parents' advice, his parents' advice, all our friends, all our family, everyone we knew advised us or advised me not to leave. And I just thought, this is society at its best, right? Stay together for the kids. However, what is she going to learn? That this is okay.
Yeah.
So my reason for leaving was my child.
All that great advice you were getting from friends, other family members and everything, especially friends, were they aware of all the circumstances around that? The reason why you wanted to leave?
Not all of them.
Or had to leave?
Yeah. Not all of them. No, as in not all of the circumstance, not all of the people. I think in a lot of relationships, when there is any type of abuse, the person who's being abused is embarrassed and they feel weak. So they don't want to tell people what's going on, especially if they're seen by friends and family as strong and successful. They don't want to go and say, well, actually, I'm being abused. First of all, they don't believe that it's actually happening to them. And then when they do realize that they're being abused, to go and admit it to other people is really difficult, because what does it say about you if you're married to someone that is abusing you? What is the value of you? And what is your worth if they are doing that to you and you're staying? So I think people are embarrassed to share that information. However, once you start sharing that information, other people come out of their hiding spaces, their corners, and start sharing theirs as well. They just need one person to say, hey, this happened to me. And then everyone else, most people, will come to you behind closed doors and say, that happened to me too. And I think that a lot of people that leave abusive marriages leave for the children. They don't stay for the children if they can leave, because often abuse, any form of abuse, comes with financial abuse as well. So it's very difficult to leave.
So Sam, another reason why people seem to stay together is it's better the devil you know. Scary world out there. You've got your little comfort zone. I've got my man shed out the back. I tinker around. I've got surfboards.
It doesn't bother me.
Whatever. Yeah, it gives me a bit of space.
Yeah. What does that mean? What is that? What is that, the devil that you know?
I think that goes hand in hand with giving up.
Yeah.
It's pretty similar in that.
Maybe it's safe.
Yes.
Maybe that they feel safe. So maybe they have a mismatch of values or a mismatch of lifestyle or a mismatch of vision.
Mm-hmm.
However, they feel safe because they know it. And you said earlier, it's a big wide world out there, right? It's very scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you go and put yourself on Bumble or Hinge.
Ooh. I wouldn't know. Would you?
A little.
I'm sure your experience on that was a hit.
I I'm very much an optimist. So there was upside. I think that also comes in with distraction.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's a distraction as well. I think when you go through, like, you end up being by yourself, and whatever illusion you had of life is a bit shattered then, and you're looking at
Is this after the relationship?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're looking at an opportunity to rebuild or something.
With someone on Hinge?
I think any of those spots are a great distraction for you to just avoid anything. So, yeah. So, and, you know, everyone's looking for some sort of solace in a bit of human companionship.
So do you think that, let's touch on that, how much self-actualization or self-discovery goes into that as a distraction? Your relationship ended and you went on, or you sort of tested or tinkered with things like that, like with apps and stuff. Did you find that you learned something about yourself, or was it only a distraction?
I guess there's two phases in my life where I can relate to that. One was when I got divorced. And I sort of thought through that period of time where you knew things were going to end and you were clinging on tight, and eventually just, nature filled its course and you ended up by yourself. I always thought, like, in advance, if I ended up in a position like that, like, party time, like, get out, like, watch out. It was going to be on. And
yeah, hold me back.
Yeah. And I think the thing that I found for myself, and also for a lot of male friends that have gone through a similar thing, it's the opposite. You're sort of like, you take a good hard look at yourself, and maybe that's more to do with the people I know that have been through a similar experience as well. You start going, okay, what is it that makes me who I am? And where's the substance in myself and in my life? And especially when you start joining that together, as in a divorce or a marriage that didn't end up well, or a really strong relationship that you thought was going to go for a long time. I would say that for myself as a man, they're the two biggest growth moments I've had, was going out of a marriage and also out of a long-term relationship after that marriage. And
which one was the most impactful?
I would say the 5-year relationship. Yeah.
Was that because you were older and wiser?
I think because I went into that relationship with eyes a bit more wide open, with a real amount of energy and dedication to, like, growing as a person, and also including someone else in your life, and really being really cognizant of all the things that you probably contributed to a marriage that didn't end up lasting forever, and taking responsibility for that, and being really bloody honest with yourself of, like, I'm not going to let that happen again, and do it. So I think that, that relationship and the ending of it taught me so much more. So in the last couple of years, I would say I've learned more as a man than I have in my entire life before then, as far as in touch with what really counts, and with your soul and with your purpose really in life.
Is that the optimist in you coming out again?
Yes, it is the optimist, isn't it?
Were there any really bad moments?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. I remember the first night after my divorce, or it was the first Friday night, right? And I had a baby who is turning 19 this year, right? At the time, she was a tiny baby in a little, there's like little chairs. There's like you can, then with your foot, those bouncing chairs, yeah. And I didn't want to get into my bed that night, because getting into my bed meant getting into an empty bed.
This was the first night.
It was the first Friday night, because everyone that I was working with at the time, or my mates, all were out, and they were, having a drink somewhere or having a great weekend, and it was starting, right? And I lived in South Africa at the time, in Johannesburg, which is quite a vibrant city. And I was at home with a tiny baby, and I was really young. When I had her, I was 23 when I had my daughter. So a Friday night for a 23-year-old with a tiny baby is not ideal. And I remember I didn't want to get into bed, and I just slept on the couch, like watched TV, fell asleep, woke up, popped her with my foot, fed her, let her fall back to sleep on the chair, and I didn't get into the bed because I thought, well, this is lonely on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And how many people, I know that's something that you talk about in your coaching and in your courses around what do you do that first night? What do you do that first weekend? The first weekend when you're alone, and the first weekend when you've got kids.
Yeah.
Right? Like when your kids come over to your new place and mom's not there or dad's not there, and do they have a room? Like I know so many people that get divorced, they just want to get away from each other, right? They just want to separate. And the kids are sleeping on the couch, right? Or they're sleeping on the floor on a mattress in the room or whatever the case is. And that's okay. That's okay. However, what's the feeling involved in that? Like failure or loneliness, all of those things. So those are big reasons for people to hang on and to stay in relationships when they should be moving on.
I actually get a lot of people who say to me, and that they say, hey, we're in this position and everything. And I don't do relationship counseling or anything.
Yeah.
But as a mate or someone who knows them or friends of friends, I always say to them, hey, look, have a look at what's really not happening for both of you.
Yeah.
And is that something you're going to carry on into another relationship, whether you or them? Yeah. Because you really, it's going to hurt. Like you're pulling out. I think of the early days, I just had camp beds for my boys.
Yeah.
They didn't want to come and stay, right? It's really uncomfortable where we were. It just wasn't conducive to our environment or an environment for ourselves. And they've got everything set up back at the family home. I'd left the family home. So there's no dog. There's no, all the toys or computer stuff and,
was there food?
And everything. My place, yeah. There's
for sure.
There's always food at my place, yeah. So that's a really hard slog. So that is a real reason that people stay or hang on. Is the opposite is there's a bit of heartache there. However, for us as well, it was a good opportunity, and here's the optimist coming out again. Okay, it happened, and the upside was that for myself and two sons, as three boys, we managed to get out the big sheet of paper and all write down what is going to be a really cool household that we're going to love and enjoy together, and with all the great things we're going to do without turning into a frat house. Right?
Yeah, I remember you saying that to me, and I remember you saying to me that you made it very clear that it wasn't going to be like a dorm.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not a boy's house.
Yeah.
It's a home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think especially when you start out and you're by there, if you can control something and get your mind free, you need a clutter-free environment. So that really helps. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how we ventured on. So there's sort of like an upside of either way.
Do you think people stay even if they've got mismatched values, mismatched vision, mismatched lifestyle, and they love each other anyway? Do you think that is a romantic partnership or companionship? Or not even companionship, because they're not sharing certain things.
Maybe romance is all you've got then. Let's say you've got nothing else. You're completely misaligned on a whole heap of things, but you've got this crazy love, and that the behavior with that is like you're just like when you first met, or you're just like flashing back to university days or something.
Yeah.
And maybe that's all you've got to hang on to, and that's enough. And you know what? Maybe that's enough to stay alive.
Yeah.
To stay together.
I would want that.
Because when you got everything else, maybe all the rest is noise.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the purpose. Was
there a moment when you knew that your marriage was over or your long-term relationship was over? Was it like fireworks, or like, was it this massive showdown, or was it when the penny dropped, right? Like not, and you were like, yep, That's it.
I think I've fallen into the same category experience that a lot of men do. And if you look at the statistics in Australia and also worldwide, women initiate somewhere around 70%
Yeah.
of divorces. I would like to say that that's because you're more attuned, as in women in general are
Thank
more
you.
attuned of their feelings and what's important to them. And especially with the rearing of children and seeing them as they sort of like go off and you become less of a dependent, or they become less dependent on you.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, please.
I think that especially when women get to midlife, we've spent so much time putting other people ahead of ourselves, our children, our husband, our parents, our home, etc., 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 that we get to our 40s, let's say, and we're like, hey, what about me?
You know what?
Yeah?
What you don't realize is that blokes do that too.
Yeah?
Yeah, very much.
So you think women that spend days and days at home looking after children
Mm-hmm.
and men go off to work,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the societal roles, right? These are the gender roles.
Yeah,
Okay?
imposed upon you.
Right. And you know how I feel about those roles. Yeah? Do you think that it's equal for men and women? Do you think
it's
women...
different.
Okay.
It's different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your perspective on that?
I think the men take the same obligation and they have that same feeling of sacrifice.
Okay.
It's just different. Generally, they'll be working longer and more, generally. And generally, they'll take charge of other responsibilities. However, you're quite right. Most of the time, it doesn't extend to a lot of interaction with the children or responsibilities with the children. As you said, that just typically falls, it's shifted or moves towards a mum.
Yeah.
Yeah. And however, there's the same feeling. It's just that quite often, mums aren't aware that dads have got that same feeling, sacrifice.
And those are stereotypical gender roles, right? So that's like you're expected to provide as a man, and as a woman, you're expected to have children and raise them.
Well, that's what a lot of people do. Yeah. Statistics will start to show that, that's changing a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. But generally, that's the experience of most people. Yeah.
Okay. So we're at this point now where we've got men and women getting to midlife and they're deciding, hey, what about me?
It's an exciting time. I think everyone should embrace it, run towards it. Yeah, shirts off, running, big hug, sunset. Yeah.
So
let's go.
You knew the moment?
Oh, we're still back to there.
Yeah.
I like to dodge things like that.
Yeah, I know you're a big
Look,
deflector.
for me, it was a slow trickle, 1,000 paper cuts. Yeah. I may have inflicted quite a few of those paper cuts here as well. Yeah.
Well, that's big of you to admit that. I'm perfect.
It was certainly a time, and there was an experience around that time of like, this is the definite part. And as I said, women instigate divorces. They're probably more in tune with how things are going on with themselves and their values and what's important. And I think what men generally experience is that women have already detached themselves and untangled themselves from the life you've got together. So that may have been going for a long time, and then it becomes a bit of a shock.
I have so much to say about that.
You do.
I do.
And
I reckon men don't notice that women have been detaching for such a long time because they don't pay attention.
There's a whole episode going there.
There's a whole episode on there.
Yeah.
So talking about getting to that point, right? And you realizing the detachment, right? How did you know it was okay to move on?
You know what? There was a time, I don't know when it was a few months after separating and moving out. So we cohabitated for quite some time. I wouldn't recommend that for too many people. It's not too healthy. Yeah, depending where your head's at.
Yeah.
So there came a time where I realized I was out with the boys and driving. It was just us and we were doing something. And I realized that, hey, this weight had just lifted off the back of my shoulders and I was free. Like, this is my time, as in the boys and I. We didn't have to be back by a certain time. And this feeling that I'd had, that I'd realized I'd had for so many years and that I'd never discussed before and never brought up because I was probably a little poor at communicating those feelings, had just evaporated and vanished. That was a very big moment, realizing that, we could truly choose to live how we wanted to.
Yeah.
And that we could create a fantastic life together, the three of us.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sam, did you ever have an experience where you knew that it was done, it was over?
Yeah. And it was totally, it should have been so expected, right? However, it was totally unexpected. I was seeing a psychologist for a few months, like 3 months, because I was so desperately unhappy and depressed and anxious. And she never spoke, ever. She just used to sit there and listen to me go on and on and on about my work and my job and my clients and everything, my parents, absolutely everything.
So you went there 3 months?
3 months.
3 months?
Yeah.
No advice, no
she never
hey
spoke.
Sam.
Well, they're not allowed to give you advice, right?
Okay, she'll just let you grab it on.
Right. Yeah, and I would just moan and moan.
Whinge.
Yeah, it
Moan,
whinge.
whinge.
Yeah, and that was quite therapeutic.
Okay.
I obviously kept going back.
Did you drink wine?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. So afterwards, no. And I kept seeing this woman, and she used to suck these throat lozenges, and she would just sit there and like suck this lozenge in her mouth the whole time. And after about 3 months, every week, I used to go after work at night. One day, she just said, "Do you think maybe it could be your husband?" And I remember thinking, she's so rude. How can she say that? That's so rude, right? And everyone in my life at the time was definitely not pointing a finger at my husband. He was like this golden child, right? This golden boy. Yeah. He's an athlete. He was
fast.
Yeah, he was great, right? And I was a difficult wife, and I wasn't doing what I was told, and I was coloring outside of the lines. So, and I didn't really fit into the mold that I was supposed to fit into culturally and from a society perspective. And talking about lifestyle misalignment right there. And I remember getting in the car after that session and driving home at night in the dark thinking, this woman is so rude. I'm never going back to her. How could she possibly say that? It's me. I'm the problem. My life is the problem. Everything in my life is not right. And it can't be him. And as I was driving home, I remember it almost came from like the depths of my soul. And I said to myself, hey, hang on. What if it is him? What if this isn't right? What if the way I'm being treated is not right? Even though everyone else in my life, my parents included, wanted me to stay married and raise my daughter with my partner at the time, my husband at the time. What if this isn't right for me? What if she's right? And that's when it started. That's how I knew it was. Yeah.
Right. There you go. It's can be a little bit confronting when that happens.
Mm.
So let's wrap up a bit. We've been talking a lot about should I stay, should I go now?
Mm.
There's a lot of people out there that we know and a lot of people that they know that are going to be in the same boat.
Mm.
What would you say as a starting point for those people that are sitting there not quite excited and happy about how their life is, how things have turned out with their relationship.
Maybe they've let go of their dreams. Maybe they've settled. I think that all relationships, whether they keep you up at night because of trauma or whether they were the most incredible love affairs that you just can never get over, I think every single relationship is an opportunity for growth. And if we see it that way, it's okay to leave when it's time that growth is over, or that development, that soul development, that personal development, that misalignment comes in, because people do grow apart sometimes. And to hang on to that means that you're stunting your own development, your own growth. And if you look at it that way, as not a blame, not saying you're the reason our relationship ended or I'm the reason
You've got a failed marriage.
Yeah, your marriage failed. Yeah, absolutely. Every relationship is an opportunity for you to see yourself through someone else's eyes. See all those.
Hang on, let me say that. Every relationship is an opportunity for you to see yourself through someone else's eyes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. And sometimes you're not going to like what they see. That's not necessarily about them. It's about you. There's this book called Getting the Love That You Want. And it's written by two psychologists, I think. One of the things that book is based on is the concept that we are attracted to people that remind us of past hurts that were caused by our parents, and that we find people in our lives that mimic behaviors that our parents had towards us that we now try to heal. Our inner child is trying to heal by having a relationship with someone that has similar behaviors, even on a completely subconscious level. So I believe that every relationship is an opportunity to see yourself as that child, that inner child, and to heal parts of yourself, to learn parts of yourself. And if you look at it that way, no one's at fault, and it's okay to move on, and it's also okay to stay if you need to or you choose to.
It's good to have that opportunity to grow and to look at yourself and to forgive yourself and other people. If it's an opportunity to grow from every relationship you have, then I think you can continue to grow with the person that you're with. So leaving isn't giving up as well.
If they're willing to grow with you.
Yeah. However, recognizing the other person needs to grow in a certain way and has their own individual attributes and pursuits and vision and life and purpose, and then you doing the same without compromising either and finding a way to do it together, then I think that is a real high purpose as well.
Yeah.
Sam, I think we can leave it off there. It's been great talking to you again. And I think that we've uncovered a few things that some of our audience and friends and connections from many different countries would find very true to home.
Yeah, very relevant.
Close to the heart. Let's explore midlife, all the triumphs, tragedies together, and explore the adventure and have some fun along the way. I'm Brendan Neal, and this is Dr. Samantha Worthington. Have a great evening.